I'm going to introduce my special guest today. I have Miss Alicia, and I'm so excited because she is an OG homeschool pro, is what I'm calling her. But she's also a wife, a mother of five, right?
Yep.
Five. Yes, five. Sales and marketing expert, overall boss, and she's still holding it down and looking good. Got your fashion
Oh,
frames on, your
thank you.
earrings popping.
Oh,
Look,
look, I took my top knot down today. Look, mine's not cute like yours with the braids. Mine just be up there. So I look, I
listen.
pull the comb out for y'all. You're
I
welcome.
call this my struggle bun. I can make it look good at the
Hello?
front, but what the back is doing is not my business. I don't
Can't
know.
nobody see the back. You're good. No, nobody can
That's
see the back.
what I'm here for. So I'm so glad to have you today. I am going to give you opportunity at the end to make sure people know how to get your upcoming book and where they can follow you. So if you want to say
Thank
that
you.
here at the beginning too, how they can follow you, if they want to learn more and get to know you and connect with you. And then at the end, we'll say it again.
That sounds good. No, for right now, just follow me on Instagram at WAHM Guide. That stands for Work at Home Mom Guide. And if you follow me on Instagram, I'll keep you updated. We're going to have the website up. Join the mailing list so you can know when my book's coming out. And like I said, it's not self-aggrandizing. I'm just trying to share all the stuff that I have learned the
Oh
hard
yeah,
way
girl.
so
Yes,
that
please.
y'all don't have to learn the hard way. Unless you're stubborn like me, and then you might hear it and just let it go in one ear and out the other too. So
No,
I'll
they're
do
not
that.
gonna do that. They're gonna grab a hold to this knowledge. That's why we're here today, because we've been keeping track of all the changing news coming out of TEA. We're in Texas, so coming out of the Texas Education Agency, but across the country, it's been the same thing. Everyone's trying to figure out what are we going to do, what's going to be equitable for students, because we want them to learn, and then what's also going to consider their safety. So we're going to dive right in because, like I said, you are OG homeschool pro, having five kids and having done homeschool at so many different levels. So I want to just hop in with, so I did a survey of working moms, okay, and this is what led me to say, oh, I better get Alicia and try to contact her, because I've been saying we were going to do a talk for a while, but I'm like,
Yeah,
the time
yeah.
is now. And so I did a survey of working moms, okay, and so I was thinking in my head that most people were like me, because that's how we think as humans. My daughter went back to school in June for summer camp, and then now she's home this week with us for a week, and she's one. And then she'll be going back starting next week in person. Of course, she's one. She was the only kid came back to her class. So I'm like, okay, people are going to send their kids back. It's like August. We've been home with our own kids since March. I know people are going to be sending their kids. And I did the survey, and 62% of moms said they're going to be doing virtual learning from home. 28% said they're going to do the in-person options. 7% said they're going to do straight homeschool, no district affiliations at all. And then about 2% said they're going to do a hybrid where their kids go, I guess, some days and they stay home some days. That's an option for some people. And so once I saw 62% of them were like, they're going to do virtual home learning, I was like, okay, we got to have some conversations around what best practices look like, because a lot of people sharing information are either not pros, they haven't been doing this for any significant amount of time. So I'm like, I want to talk to someone who is an OG in this game. So I want you to just kind of let us know, with so many parents about to kind of come into this facilitating learning from home space, whereas I think some people just took a coronation at first. Now they're
And
about
now
to
it's
have to
back
really
to
get into it. Yeah.
some's going to have to start getting
So what
going.
I want you to kind of share with us, like, what's the first thing you'd like to start with in terms of what parents need to know in order to really get into this facilitating learning from the home?
Okay, so I'm glad that you put it like that, facilitating learning from the home, because regardless, and this is a conversation I have a lot, regardless of what schooling choice you may have made for your kids pre-corona and post-corona, whether you have your kid in public school, private school, homeschool, virtual distance learning, all of that, your job as a parent is to facilitate learning. Even if your kid's full-time in public school, it's still, the onus is on us. And I know I can hear some teachers virtually saying amen. Onus is still on parents to guide their children. Yes, I mean, we have to, and we can't be mad if we don't do it at the results. So I have had the benefit and the fortune to have experienced the virtual learning through the school district. So 10-second background. I have 5 kids. One of them, I was in school till 5th grade. We pulled her out to homeschool her after a bunch of different changes, put her back in high school, took her back out, graduated her. She's grown. She's out the house. Now I got 4 babies at home, and they had always been homeschooled. I had 4 under 4, 4 and 4 years at one time, and they had always been homeschooled until this last year. This last year, I decided to enroll them in public school so that I could put some different priorities, spend my time a different way for little, because I figured this was the only year they would all be in elementary. So this one year, this is the year I put them in public school. So I pulled them out. Well, I didn't pull them out. Let me take that back. We went on Corona. They went on spring break and they never went back because all this happened. And so I had, on principle, I said I was going to finish this school year with the public school, do the distance education. So we did start with the distance education for a while. And I got to say, to your initial question, the habits and the practices that we had in place from homeschool translated for after schooling when they were in school and through this distant learning. It was absolutely necessary to one, establish expectations, establish that an environment for learning, expectation to put your full effort in, and to have grace. That's number one. You need grace with yourself. You need grace with your child. You need grace with these teachers that are trying to figure out how to do the Schoolology and Zoom and all that stuff. Give yourself grace. Everything, if you are intentional and if you're on this Instagram live, you're already interested and engaged with your child. If you're intentional, things are going to work out in the wash anyway. I had the benefit of, like I said, having my oldest child when I pulled her out, and we had homeschooled for 3.5, almost 4 years. I'm like, she didn't always like to do her schoolwork, and it was just me and her. And I'm like, I know for a fact that I'm doing this child an academic disservice. I know this is not working. This having to fight tooth and nail to get our schoolwork done every day. There's no way that she's on point. Well, fast forward to when we enrolled her back in public school, she dropped right in, passed the STAR test in high school. She had read most of the books on the 10th grade book list. The teacher was like, oh, I can tell you homeschool because you check your math work. Like, she popped in back into public school with no problem. And I hadn't been following TEKS or anything. What I had been doing was being intentional about making sure that we made time to learn every day. And I said that only to say this. The only reason why I brought that up was to say this. Be encouraged that it all works out in the wash. God gave me that opportunity to say, Alicia, you feel like you're failing? It's going to work out. It's going to be fine. Here's some concrete evidence that your child is not, going to, what's that Bobby, there's a meme out there that says, everybody's homeschooling. They said, my mom wrote the Constitution or whatever. Like, we're not going to be Adam Sandler's. Your kid's not going to go back to live school as that meme because you missed a class one day or because you didn't understand how to explain this and you had to find other resources, and the other sources are available virtually. They're abundant. So anyway, did that make sense?
Yeah, it did. I love that part that when you lead with grace, because I think parents can be so hard on ourselves. Like, especially me as a mom, like, even when my child was here, I was like, oh, my child is at home, but she's not going to get behind. Like, we read books every day. She's one. She's one.
She's one.
No, but I don't care. We read books every day, and then we have learning time, and then we have our math books, and then we do our math time, and then we do our reading time, and then we have to have outside time, and then because she needs to get outside, and I think it can get so stressful if you're really trying to tick, especially by a time schedule, which is what I tried at first. It was like, by 8 o'clock we'll do this, by 10 o'clock we'll do this, and it's like, oh crap, it's 10:30, we still eating breakfast. And so I think that stress, if we don't manage it and become gracious with the process, the stress that we have, we transfer that energy to the kids. And that anxiety is something that we don't want the kids to bear. So I'm glad you started with that grace, because you know me, I want to go straight into like the pedagogy because, I'm an educator.
Yeah.
But the truth is, if we lead with grace, I love that, because that's the first thing. It's like, look, maybe today we didn't get to any math activity, but tomorrow we get to one. As long as we keep it going and we're intentional. So I'm glad that you started with that. That was God, because I was going to go straight in with the best practices.
Girl, Look, speaking of that, this something that I have to remind myself of when I am dropping some balls is that Jesus came and he didn't do everything. This the one person who could have done everything. He could have handled everything while he was here, but he chose to come and and not if they were like, hey, ain't you gonna deal with these Romans? Hey, aren't you gonna do this? Aren't you gonna do that? He was like, nah, this is my priority. This is what I'm gonna do. If he didn't do everything, how in the hell how am I supposed to?
We
I can't.
cannot. We can't do everything all the time, but we can make sure that we do whatever we do well. And so let's talk about how we do it well. So how can parents bring kids? A big part of my philosophy on not only parenting but education is giving students autonomy in the processes. And so I want to know what that looks like for you in terms of, I mean, we're going to talk about like the actual learning environment, and there have been a lot of questions around that, how you set it up and flow and schedule. But how do you, or how have you experienced kind of giving kids autonomy in terms of what we'll do and when we'll do it? And what did you see that impact your children in their ability to buy in, to engage in the process at all?
Oh, for sure. One of the things that I had to unlearn as becoming a homeschooler after having public schooled, and there's still some opportunity for this with the virtual schooling. When you're on a schedule and you have to be on Zoom at 10:30, there's still some room for this, that you don't have to be stuck to that schedule. You can have some flexibility in your schedule. I hear a lot of moms recently like, well, I got to clock in for work. I'm working from home, but I got to clock in from 8 to 5. Cool. Get your child on a schedule where your one-on-one time and your time with helping him or her with their schoolwork is from 7 to 8. It can be, I've talked to some people who work all day and they do schooling at nighttime because it works with their work schedule. And so it can be anytime. And honestly, that's more in line with where this new economy is going. There, you have to be able to be disciplined and be able to work flexible. So, what was your question?
Question was, how can parents? No, you're getting there. How can parents give students autonomy in the process? So you're saying like be flexible. Like, do you ever allow, or have you been in a situation where your kids can choose? Like, maybe I want my math lesson at this time, or like any flexibility in the day.
For sure. Reagan, come here.
She's like, Exhibit A.
Exhibit A. Look, bring me my laptop back from my desk and bring me your list from out of there, please. So I'm going to show you guys something, but it's important to not get stuck on, like you said that we're going to do reading time at this. If the child is not ready to do reading time at that time, it's not going to be very effective. You're just going to be bumping heads. So you can, now you
got to pause right there. You got to pause, Alicia, because you're going to hit a lot of people with this. What you mean? I said we about to do math. Look, you better get your butt in here and do this math with being flexible. So, that's another lesson. Grace, flexibility, Lord. You giving us a lot this morning. It's sounding real loosey-goosey. You know, we used to school when the bell ring, you go.
Look, and there are some people, you look at the Sudbury School, there are some people that do that. They're like, hey kids, unschooling, I'm sure if you've been researching, you see this, hey kids, what do you want to learn about? We're going to let you want to learn all about dolphins, then all we're going to talk about is dolphins for this next week. And there's a way to do that. I think there are some very successful kids and parents that do that. I'm not that person, because I am like I know there's certain things that I want to see done, but with us, we have rails. So, having the expectation that they're going to finish their assigned schoolwork. For me, I get to pick what the schoolwork is. I asked my 11-year-old to bring me her checklist. They all down to the 6-year-old has a checklist, and I'll put this on my Instagram feed. But they go through this in a race every week. As a work from home mom, and which a lot of us are, sometimes I want to sit there and teach. I try to designate from 9 to 11:30 or 12 every day. Focus. I don't always get to do that. Sometimes I got a deadline, something comes up. They know you have assignments. So if hey, y'all, I got to turn this video in. I got to turn this project in. I got to turn this proposal in. I need y'all to work on your list right now during school time. And they work on the list, and it's stuff that's important to me. They get to pick when they do it, but they got to do it all. So, and even the 6-year-old has this. And look, and if And if you don't finish it, you don't get to finish. You don't get to watch TV on when it's TV time. So I mean,
Right,
I'm not
right,
gonna hound you about it. Don't worry about it. Don't do it if you don't want to. But
right.
they have, this is an example of rails. Another thing is they
Let
have a
me let me
booklet.
see that again. Can you hold it up a little bit? I love this. This
I'm a
okay. What does it
I'm
say?
gonna
Oh,
put
it
on my
say Reagan's. Oh, baby, it's very specific. Okay, yes, that's her specific checklist with her different activities. Now you make a different one each week.
No, this is
Oh, it's
reoccurring.
general.
This
Gotcha.
is reoccurring. They, for example, they have, and you'll see this on my Instagram feed. They have draw Blake Baker. So I have a stack of geography books where they go through and it tells them one on step by step how to. Thank you, Lucy. How to draw Asia, or to draw the USA, draw Europe, and they know how to do this because I've gone through it with them a couple times, and now they know how to do it on their own. So they have some independently read work, and again, even the 6-year-old knows how to do this. So you can
Right.
do it with the little. If you've set them, if you've planted the seed early, then you could
Mm.
do this. So this is a fallback. They work on this in the afternoons when I can't sit with them. I love teaching them. I can't always do it. So something comes up, something emerges, the sprinkler guy comes, something happens that pulls
Mm-hmm.
me away. I can't be one, and I want them to learn how to be independent. I have my kids. I want that everybody in college bound, but my kids, I'm expecting them to do dual credit courses during high school,
Right.
like my oldest did, and go on to
Get
college. So they're
all
gonna have to do
those
that.
free college credits. I'm here for it, girl. I'm always pushing it. Everybody
Hello,
knows me know. I'm like, get these kids and do it. That's another conversation.
yeah,
Hold on. Crystal commented and said, yes, morning meetings and checklists were game changers for her. So I guess she did like a morning meeting where everyone knew, okay, today we have this and this going
yeah.
on. Mama's going to be on a call from this time to this time. This is when you're going to be doing that. And then kind of like break. And everyone is on the
You know,
same page.
I'm glad Crystal brought that up, the morning meeting, those, because I've learned, and we had a conversation earlier about children are people. They're people first. Just the same way we kind of want to have a idea of what's going on. If I don't, I say, and a lot of times I know with my culture, we're like, get out of grown folks' business. But there's nothing wrong with telling them, hey, I have a meeting from 11 to 1. You're going to have to be on your Zoom call or whatever. You're going to have to be on your conference by yourself. I expect you to behave yourself. And I expect you to follow, finish your book. Like, I have to tell them, I can show us right now. I have to give them a morning meeting. I give them an itinerary, what's expected today. If anything's off of the norm, we have a default schedule, a default timeline of what we do every day, but with the
Mm-hmm.
expectation and understanding that sometimes that's going to change. And when it does,
Right.
like Crystal said, giving the kids the respect and the benefit of knowing this, there's going to be some changes.
I
It's
think that
important.
ideal of respect is so big because, like you said, there is a cultural thing around kids stay in a child's place. Adults don't have to explain to you what they're doing. And I think, first of all, I think just on its face is toxic. Do I believe that respect is important? Yes. But the flip side of that is I think that we have to be about the business of building the capacity of our student, the cognitive
Yeah.
capacity.
Yep.
And so I explain things to you, not because I have to, but because I am raising, oh, who was it? Who was it? I wish I could remember who said I am oh, Michelle Obama in Becoming. Her parents always said, I'm raising adults. I'm not raising
Yep.
children.
Yep.
I'm
I
raising
heard,
adults. I'm
I
not
think I
raising
heard
children.
that same thing
I
that
want you to
when
be
one
a
of the books,
thinking adult.
with there's some Charlotte Mason
Uh-huh.
said a same thing, but in like 18th century British accent, whatever, but same concept. It's like
I'm raising an
we
adult.
complain about how
Yeah.
what
No, I'm raising an
about
adult. Yeah.
I'm raising a dog. Like we complain about, oh, now I'm 21 years old, I don't know anything about getting a car loan, I don't know. Well, when your children are standing next to you, they have the opportunity to learn those life skills. You can just narrate it, and I have to put my pride down. Sometimes I feel like being like, girl, leave me alone, get out of grown folks business. But grown folks business, they gonna have grown folks
They
business
need to
before
learn grown
you
folks
know it.
business. Yeah.
Thank you. They need
And
to learn
so
that.
I support it. I support what you're saying and giving them some autonomy in the process. And sitting down, to me, that level of respect becomes what you expect from authority figures. I want my child to expect that people in authority will respect her, because respect is about reciprocity. You give respect and you get it. So I'm going to frame this in the context of our conversation about homeschooling, because I think this is going to be an opportunity for people to bring their children in to the process and give them some autonomy and some ownership, or to make them feel like this is about to happen to them despite them. You're going to sit down, you're going to do this, you're going to da 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 da. And it might make them hate school even more for some kids. But we have I would say, a divine opportunity to change the game for some kids, to bring them into this process and say, okay, here are some things that we know are going to be built into the day. Like if your teacher does a Zoom and it's every Wednesday from 10 to 11, we know that these are some things that are hard class. Now, here are some flexible things. When are you going to do this? And when are you going to do that? And maybe you want to choose to do your math lesson after lunch. Is it necessarily going to hurt anything for you to give them the option to say when they want to do things if they're getting done? And so I love that
if they're getting done, you got to hold them accountable.
If they're getting done. Now, that's another conversation. If they're just like, I don't want to do anything. Okay, now we're not saying complete chaos and anarchy. But
can I, you mentioned something earlier about getting their buy-in and I don't want to do anything. And again, I mentioned that I had firsthand experience with this. You're going to have, you can't make somebody, you can force your hand and threaten somebody, but you can't make a child learn, just like can't nobody make you learn. If before this whole pandemic thing, if somebody told me, hey, Alicia, I love to learn. I love that they can tell you, my husband can tell you, I love to learn things that he thinks are asinine, just pointless. But if somebody had told me a year ago, hey, Alicia, I need you to learn how to give yourself a full set, I'd be like, no, I don't need that information. Come quarantine and I couldn't get to the nail shop, I'm like, okay, I'm on YouTube, I'm looking up tutorials, I'm learning, I'm engaged because it's relevant and it's important to me. And the same thing with your kids, you have to, it's a bonus, it's a benefit, and it's easier to facilitate learning when it's important to them. And when things that they might not understand or know that are important to them, they're going to feed off your energy and your example. If they don't ever see you reading, if every opportunity you get to have some leisure time, you're not reading or learning a new skill or doing something that is growing you, they're going to do exactly what they see you doing. And if your boss say, hey, I need you to take these CEUs, and you're like, I can't stand classes, that's exactly how they're going to do. But when you're like, when you're excited about learning, when you're like, oh, your teacher told you to learn about penguins, what? Just feign interest, y'all. Like over dinner, it's like, what? You learning about penguins? Penguins in Antarctica? Oh, okay. Well, tell me about Antarctica. Like,
right. They're getting involved in the process. Yeah.
They want your attention. They feed off your energy. If you're excited about learning, it breeds a whole culture of learning. And I tell you, it makes your job easier. You have to fuss less and be like, get your work done when they want to learn, when they want to.
That's awesome. Well, that's going to bring us to our last point of conversation for today, which is, so everything we do in the Fresh Classroom is rooted in culturally responsive teaching, right? It's this idea that, it's this idea of pedagogy that says we have to be culturally responsive and standards-based at the same time. We have to present this content. Let's say if I'm teaching math content, I have to teach it in a way that is culturally responsive, where I am considering what are the things that interest this student that I'm teaching? What are some things that motivate them intrinsically? What are they already into? What are some of their lived experiences? And at the same time, I have to keep in mind, what's the actual content that I have to teach them? So I have to marry these two things, and the educator has to become a bridge between the two. That's the work that I do. I travel across the country, train teachers on how to reimagine what our role is in this process. And so I think parents being the foremost authority on what their kids are into is a prime opportunity for them as they're facilitating, even those that are not teaching full-time, to say, what are you learning about? Oh, let's go in the kitchen and create a recipe where you're going to put that math lesson into action, and maybe y'all are going to scoop out half a cup or whatever it is to take that learning and make it real. I think parents have a real opportunity to be the bridge builders for their students if they're in classrooms that are culturally irrelevant. And so I want to get your opinion about that and maybe how you've experienced making learning relevant for your kiddos. But first, I wanted to show an example. So we're about to do a back to school giveaway for some teachers. So this is one of the things in our giveaway box. If you can see this, every time I talk about math, I always explain to people how I had extreme math deficits in school. And so when I saw this box, I was like, this could have been a game changer. And I know people use manipulatives and stuff in schools now, but when I was in school, I'm like, this could have been a game changer. I always cared about money. If
Yeah.
somebody could have put the math lesson in the context of this, you had $20 and somebody took 10, how many dollars you got left? What? Somebody took 10 of my, I only got $10 left. It would have been real easy. But I had a lot of struggles around algebra because it was totally irrelevant.
Yeah.
Somebody said they use the money box. Yay! She said she used it every day. See, you should have been my teacher. So I want to know from your perspective, kind of, how did you make learning relevant for them, and what did you see as a result of your efforts?
Okay, so I approach it from two different ways. One, the benefit of that being your own child and you having a captive audience, especially when they're little, you get the opportunity to set their affections. So you get the opportunity to put them to decide really and just gear. You can't choose what they like, but you can train their taste. If you try broccoli once, if you never tried broccoli, you're probably not going to like it. But if you keep putting it on their plate, eventually, that's the same thing with music taste, same thing with literature, same thing with any history, anything they're interested in. Surround them in things that you know that you want them to have a liking towards, have an interest in. And so one, I try to train their affections from childhood and things that I know that are going to lend themselves to the academic expectations and goals that I have long term. And then two, just really give them an opportunity to dive in. Like, for example, there are so many different resources, and I'm fortunate and grateful to have a little bit of money to buy things like science kits and stuff. But gosh, you don't need it. Like Harris County Public Library has an app. You can get books and audiobooks. Audiobooks and for me are okay. Everything that I've read, the research or whatever, you get the content. You can enjoy books way over your level as a child in audiobooks. But when my child said that they're interested in stuff, I dive in. Let's do it. I have my daughter asked me over and over. She's like, "Can we do a science project? Can we do a science project today?"
Wow.
And I'm like, I did one, and you're not satisfied with it. Bet okay, I'm gonna order the mail science. I'm gonna order a subscription box for science kids. Have your way with it. And so I listened.
Can you tell us the name of that subscription box for parents?
Mail, MEL science. And I'm gonna take a note. I'll link this in my Instagram profile.
And other resources that you use, because they might need some of those too. Chris, can you bring Mari?
But that's something that costs a little money, but there's other stuff. It's just really tuning in and not disregarding what your children are saying and listening to the interest, even if it's just it might be a brief little mention of it, but latch onto that. Just jump onto that, and don't be. And I'll say this because I just had this. Don't be afraid. For those of you who have multiples at home, if your second grader shows an interest in what your fifth grader is doing, let them do what the fifth grader is doing. Let them look through the same book. Let them explore the same information. Find a Netflix video about it. Find an Amazon Prime video about it, and let them. Don't say, well, no, you're in second grade, so you can't do this. You have to do, what you're saying. Let them learn and explore all those things, and just listen and be a facilitator. Help them find those resources and use them.
Widen Wondering said, "Be a yes mom." I like that. Be a yes mom.
I need work on that, but you're right. Yeah.
I bought Amari so she can say hi. Say hi.
Hi, pretty girl.
Say hi. It's nice to meet you. Say I'm at home this week and I'm learning how to drive mommy crazy. No, she's a bookworm, so she loves to read and get down and explore. So we're letting her explore now. And so I would just encourage everyone, let them explore. I'm gonna shut the gate so she don't explore down the stairs. Hold on.
Do that. Hey, little people.
Yes.
Come here. Y'all can say hi.
I want to say hi to the little people. Yes, but no, she's one, but I let her explore, and that's a part of learning. We just let her do stuff and get dirty and put her hands in stuff. Hi, kiddos. How y'all doing? Oh, I see two, and then it froze up a little bit. I see a third coming. I don't know why it got real slow. Your video got screwed. Oh, hi guys. I can see y'all. Thank y'all for sharing your mommy. Let her give us some tips. We appreciate it. Hey y'all. It's bro. I don't know why it's moving slow or something, but it's okay. Thank y'all so much. You got some shout outs. You got some shout outs down there. Oh, Crystal saying she's watched them grow.
Hey, y'all.
Yes. Yeah. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Alicia, I really appreciate you giving tips. Please let the people know where they can follow you. I do fresh chats on Wednesdays. We've been doing once a month trying to come out of quarantine. You know what? And so I look forward to seeing everything that you have, everything that you're going to share with everybody. So please tell us where they can find more information from you.
Yeah, right now, just follow the Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm open and honest and authentic. So you can find me at facebook.com/my name, Alicia Robertson. I'll type it in the comments because it's crazy spelled. And then two, my Instagram. If you follow my Instagram page at WAHM, that guide, that's Work at Home Mom Guide.com, and it's linked in there too. I post a lot of homeschool stuff on Instagram.
Yay, awesome. And then when I post the playback, I will be sure to include that on Facebook, and I'll tag you so everyone can find you and get your information.
It's good talking to you.
Yes, I look forward to talking to you in the future.
Yes,
all
ma'am.
Right now.
Bye.
Thank y'all for joining. See you next time. Bye-bye. Okay.